Let's take a look at this example. Consider the reaction 2H2 plus O2 yields 2H2O. Let's say you made a reaction mixture consisting of 3 moles of H2 and 2 moles of O2. Let's verify that in this particular case, H2 is the limiting reactant. How are we going to do that? Well, let's assume H2 is the limiting reactant, and then let's figure out how much O2 we have consumed, and then compare that with the amount of O2 that we actually have. Let's verify that we still have an excess of O2. Okay, so assume H2 is limiting. To verify that it is limiting, let's assume that it is, and if we don't get a contradiction, then that assumption is correct. So assume H2 is limiting, LR, the limiting reactant. Okay, then you can say 3 moles of H2 would be consumed, right? And we can figure out the amount of O2 that will also be consumed. The O2 to H2 ratio is 1:2. 1 here, 2 there, right? So 1 mole of O2 is made from is also consumed when 2 moles of H2 is consumed. So that gives us 1.5 moles of O2 consumed. Is that reasonable? Well, how much O2 do we have to begin with? According to this, we have 2 moles of O2 to begin with. Well, that's possible, right? So how much O2 would you have left? 2.0 moles O2 to begin with, minus 1.5 moles consumed. At the start, this is consumed. You will have 0.5 moles of O2 unreacted. So we made a valid assumption. We did not reach into a contradiction. How could we have gotten a contradiction? If we found that, let's say, 5 moles of O2 would have been consumed as well, then you say you can't consume 5 because the most you had is 2. Then that would be a contradiction. Okay, so what's our theoretical yield? Well, you could calculate the theoretical yield by figuring out how much water you're going to make given the amount of H2 that you consume, amount of limiting reactants. So your theoretical yield would be 3 moles of H2 times, we're looking for water. So according to this, the mole to mole ratio for H2 and water is 2:2 or 1:1. So now whatever moles of H2 you have, that's going to be the moles of water. So 2 moles of H2O over 2 moles of H2. Okay. And that tells you your theoretical yield is 3 moles of H2O. Okay. If you want, you can change that to grams. What's the molar mass of water? 18.02 grams per mole. So 3 times 18.02. 54.06, so 54 grams of water, you can also say, is your theoretical yield. That's the most water you can get, because by the time you get that much water, the 3 moles of H2 you had to begin with will all be gone. You'll still have half a mole of O2 left unreacted.